Hello, Toilet Talks Football here. We're going to get into some of my predictions for the upcoming 24-25 season. It's going to be a doozy, man. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of storylines to follow. City going to do the 5-peat. Are Arsenal going to beat them to it and win their first title in what, 22 years, 23 years? Are Chelsea going to make it back into Champions League? Are Spurs going to challenge for the Champions League? Are Villa going to maintain their European status? Um, are Newcastle going to return to the Champions League? Are United going to get their act together and get in the top six at least? There's so many storylines to follow. Obviously, the newly promoted teams going to be fighting for their life, and just plenty. And everyone in the top 10 can really challenge for Champions League football, really. So there's a lot of storylines to follow, and it could go either way. It's going to be an absolute tear up, I think, towards the end of the season. So I'm looking forward to it. But firstly, who's going to win it? My prediction, see if Arsenal will City in it, really. But my prediction's going to be City. I'm not sure it's just because I'm an Arsenal hater. It might play a part, but I'm just not going to lie. It's just Pep is a demon, man. He really is. Like, he just knows how to motivate his players. Also, Arsenal, I think they haven't strengthened enough, really. Calafiori is a very good signing, but their defense was never their weakness, was it? But yeah, upgrading on Zinchenko on the pitch and off it is amazing for Arsenal. Hopefully they finish that by getting rid of that guy. I don't think, Havertz leading the line, Javier Jesus leading the line. I don't see it. I just don't see it, them firing Arsenal into Premier League glory. And I know Liverpool done it with from Firmino leading the line, not scoring that much, but they had Mane and Salah, two of the best wingers the Premier League has ever seen, especially on the goal scoring front. And Saka, he has the ability to potentially replicate that form to some extent. Martinelli doesn't, and there's no Martinelli replacement in the works. There's no Saka backup in the works. Saka's amazing, but the way Arsenal are running into the ground, he's going to be retired by the time he's 27. He can't do it 38 games a season every season. He's either going to get injured or his form's going to drop off as it always does. And then you go from Starboy Salah to Starboy Saka to every non-Arsenal fan pretty much dragging his name through the mud, making fun of him limping off after every game, every time when he has a stinker. Like, it's not his fault. He's doing all he physically can. If you can fit in a few breaks in between these games and actually space out his conditioning, he could actually carry Arsenal further. But without a backup, he's not going to get that rest. So without that, I just can't see Arsenal beating City to a title. And I know it was to the wire this year, but you know what City are like. They kind of coast until it's the business end, and then they just win every game they need to win. It's what they do. It's not the fact that they're the golfing class is that just by that. They're just, because they've won so much, it's almost they're just doing the bare minimum they need. It's like being in school and you have to get a 90 to get an A star and you get a 91. That's what City do. They do just the bare minimum just to get ahead, as long as they're ahead of you. Look at when Liverpool broke the record with 97 points. I think the highest ever scoring second place team, and City just got 2 points more than them just because that's what they had to do. That's what City do. So I don't want Arsenal getting their hopes up the amount of times Liverpool have, when it's just because they're in touching distance they think they can grab them and drag them back. I don't think that's how it works. And City's team still as strong as ever. Even got like Savinho, a couple other players. I think Grealish missing out on the Euros, that's hurt him. I think for the first time ever, we're going to see a serious Grealish, because he's from like the same ilk as Hazard, I believe, where just like he just lets his talent do the talking. He's not a killer like Hazard. He's not a killer. They're just so good at football. They just enjoy themselves, just on and off the pitch, just quite jovial and just playing the game for giggles. But now Grealish got the shun from the European experience. He's not going to want to miss the World Cup, and his pride is hurt. Don't get me wrong. He even said it's hurt him. He knows the stakes have risen, and he's going to have to rise it this year if he ever wants to wear an England shirt again to any degree that matters. City it's City, isn't it? It's City. So I think they'll win it again. I think the 5-peat's coming. Unfortunately for the rest of the country, the rest of the top four, Arsenal, obviously. You know what? You know what? Props to Arsenal because they've in the last like 3 years they've come so far from being a joke team that had that never touching Champions League to just being an absolute cert for being in the top four. Obviously, they want to win the title, but in terms of how far they've come, where they're just nailed on top four. If you ask any Arsenal fan in 2020 what they'll give to be in that situation, they would have given a whole lot, believe me. And who can blame them? So props to Arsenal for and Arteta for for coming so far. But yeah, Arsenal. I also believe Chelsea, and it's not just because of the shirt. I just think I feel like we should have got top four last year. I think we were only like 5 points off of top four, and we dropped points to like Sheffield United and some other joke teams, a lot of joke teams. And Pochettino was just an awful manager. I hope if Maresca is the guy he seems to be. I know our results didn't go to plan in preseason, a lot of them, but from what I've seen, he's very tactically astute. He makes decisions based on the opponents we're playing. Like even against Inter Milan, I think they packed out the midfield a bit, so he changed it from like a straight line to like a diamond in the middle, so we could overcrowd the midfield, which works pretty well. I have a few concerns about our, you know what? Let me get more into the Chelsea thing in another video, but bottom line is, I think we are going to see how much Pochettino held us back last year, in this year, especially with some of the new signings, more depth. Pedro Neto, great signing. But yeah, we have the third or fourth best squad in the league. I'll stand on that. And we did last year too. And I think Maresca should have enough about him tactically to get us into that top four. And Liverpool, it's not that I'm placing them below Chelsea. I do think it's a question mark. I do think they are a better team than Chelsea, but it's just they've made no signings. Like Arne Slot looks like he's got them in a groove in pre-season, but they have Champions League football this year. You got to remember that. Last year they were in the Europa League, resting players for fun, and they still couldn't uphold a proper title race. So to add Champions League football to that and a thinner squad, I think there's going to be a drop off. I think even might even be generous in saying that they'll be in the top four because I think there's so many people waiting in the wings to take them down. Like for example, Newcastle, Villa, Tottenham. You know, I can't really take Tottenham too seriously, but the Solanke signing is brilliant. But I don't know. But I think Villa and Newcastle are going to be waiting in the wings. United are going to be waiting in the wings. As much as I don't really rate United, I don't rate Ten Hag. I don't care if he won the FA Cup last year. He came 8th. It was group stage exit in Champions League. Nah, man. Yeah, De Ligt is a very good signing. Xerxes is an all right signing. Euro is a very good signing, but he's injured. And I don't know, man. Mason Mount being a regular starter. I don't rate Mason Mount like that, and he should be a squad player. Like we got to remember, before he got injured, McTominay snatched his spot in the first team. So what does that say about Big Mason? You know. But yeah, that rounds up my top four. My 3 picks for the relegation, it's going to be the 3 teams that came up. I think that is going to be a trend for a long time, to be honest. The golfing class between the Premiership and Championship is just so big. And the 3 teams that have come up, they haven't made any significant head-turning signings that make me think the fate is gonna change dramatically. Although they are some very tactically astute managers, I don't think it's going to be enough. Like pretty much everyone's tactically astute in the Premier League, so I think them 3 are going to go down. Overperformers, I'm gonna say Palace. You know, I think that new manager's cooking something. No, if they can keep hold of Gurhey, I think Palace will do something. I think they might, I don't know, get like a cheeky 7th or something. Just I don't know. Golden Boot, there's only one answer. Erling Haaland. 2 years in a row, he's swept it. Cole Palmer was the closest thing to him last year. And even if he does replicate that form, I don't see him replicating to the point where he actually surpasses Haaland. And I don't see any strikers in the league that are as dangerous as him or are in a setup where they can score more goals than Haaland. I just think, even if, again, like typical City, I think if a player even comes close to Haaland, he will just score 4 goals against relegation for that. He's that kind of person that will just rise it when necessary. So yeah, Haaland Golden Boot again. No surprises there. Most assists. I'm gonna go for my boy Cole Palmer in a like flowing attacking team with structure. I think he's gonna thrive even more, especially with the likes of Nkunku starting more games. With the likes of hopefully Jackson has his shooting boots this season, and just yeah, because we actually have a tactician for a manager. I just think instead of someone that just says who literally admitted that his plan at times was just to pass to Cole Palmer and hope for the best. I think with an actual structure around it, I think Palmer could make magic because he's going to be given a pretty much free role to do what he wants because you don't put a talent like that on a leash. And I think Maresca knows that. So I think he'll get most assists. Signer of the season, I'm going to say potentially Ross Barkley. He done so well at Luton. I think with Villa playing, it's funny how everyone like crapped on Barkley when he played for Chelsea, but he's back in the Champions League before we are. So what does that say about us? There's quite a few players that we let go and they're back in the Champions League before us. Like maybe we should, as Chelsea fans, look in the mirror. Like be careful who you're actually like dogpiling and mocking because they're flexing on us now. We're in a Europa Conference. Yeah. Yes. I also, in terms of signings, I think potentially De Ligt could do a job. I think he might. He's a very talented centre back, and I think if he's paired up with Varane with a bit of experience, I think he could be all right. But yeah, we'll see. Flop of the season. Don't know why. I'm gonna say Xerxes. Because I just don't rate Ten Hag's like attack. Like I just don't rate Ten Hag in terms of like coaching teams. I think he relies too much on individual brilliance. I don't know. I just don't think it's more of a Ten Hag hate thing over anything. If I'm being honest, I just don't think United are going to do well. And I think with Rasmus Højlund injured, still going to call on Xerxes. I don't think he's going to answer the call, not straight away as well. And also the fact that in the Euros, like the Netherlands were like crying out for a decent striker, really, and he spent most of the tournament on the bench. He only came on after like 85 minutes against England when the game was already done. So I don't know. We'll see in it. PFA Player of the Year again, Palmer. Like I don't think a lot of non-Chelsea fans understand how good he is. Like how much of a joy he is to watch. Like people only started rating him when he like had the influx of goals and became like second top scorer in the league, and then everyone started to really pay attention to what Palmer was doing. But the real Chelsea fans, before he started knocking in pens in a hat trick against United, from like the start, we knew we had an absolute wizard on our hands. He is a brilliant player, and again, he's also gonna have a chip on his shoulder about not playing a bigger role in the England team. He said in the interviews, like, I'm not sure. Like, I know I'm good enough. I wasn't sure why I wasn't starting. Don't make sense. So I think he just wants to make it undeniable, unequivocal that he should be leading England's creative endeavors and not Phil Foden. Obviously, Foden is a different beast when he plays for City, but for like Palmer's going to be looking at Foden and be like, you know what, I'm going to flip in. I'm going to rinse you for club and country. I can tell he's got that kind of mentality. He's elite and he's an elite talent. I'm so glad we've locked him down until 2033. It's so funny because he was a childhood United fan. Some United fans were telling me that I should be counting the days and he's going to make a return to Old Trafford. Someone even asked me to bet my monthly wages on Twitter. Now look, pay up, bro. Pay up. Because he ain't going nowhere. And what is going to be going to Chelsea is the PFA Player of the Season because I think he can take that. First manager to leave, quit or be sacked. I'm not lying. I'm gonna say Ten Hag, man. I really don't rate the brother. I don't rate him at all. I see United just like just sinking, man. Like, I think De Ligt's a good signing. Like I said, he could even be a signing of the season if things go well and I'm wrong. But I don't rate United. I don't rate the setup. I don't rate the manager. Nah, man. I think, and it sounds like these like new owners, that the new management, they're just they mean business, man. And I think they extended the contract by like 1 year, but I think if Ten Hag keeps showing his ass, I think they'll get rid of him. So that's and I think with the relegation fodder, I don't think those teams are gonna be very trigger happy with sacking managers, because they know those are the guys that have got them into the Premier League, and there's the expectations are going to be high. I don't think they're gonna. I think the days of managers getting rid of guys and then like bringing in like a Tony Pulis or a Sean Dyche or Sam Allardyce, I think those days are over. I think everyone's trying to play a more attractive brand of football and not just scrapping it out to avoid going down, because that's probably inevitable anyway. And like these managers have proved very talented in the championship, so maybe they will just set a platform for themselves, the managers, and will get better jobs when the likes of Ten Hag are sacked. Who knows? We'll see. Champions League winner. I'm gonna go with City, man, because I know Real Madrid are Real Madrid and they've got Mbappe now, so it's nuts. But I just think City, the way City got knocked out by Real Madrid, I think if you simulated that match 100 times, City wins that match 99 times. I just think the pure grit, the hint of fortune, and just the amazing defending just like had them hanging on by a thread, and also just being absolutely clutch in every European fixture like Real Madrid are. But I just think they can't do it every season, surely, because City, the way City played, and City are the best team in Europe. They are, which is why I think the Arsenal shouts for Arsenal winning the league are a bit more. They're more hopeful, if anything, because they are just the best team in Europe. They're the best team in the world. Like, and I think the Champions League, I think they'll win another one again, unfortunately, which I don't want to happen. I'd much rather Real Madrid win it, or just Bayern or something. But I don't think Bayern, as much as they did well last season, and again, Real Madrid just clutched their way out of it. I don't think Kompany will win the Champions League in his first time out. Like, he's still very inexperienced. The Italian league, they're not going to do it. They've been very, very disappointing in the Champions League over the last like decade or so. Really, they've not really been a factor. Barcelona, it's possible. Like if they get like Nico Williams, then yeah, it could happen. But I don't see that. I don't see them being like a European threat until like they've got a very young squad as well. I don't think they have it in them to even like break down at Arsenal. I'd fancy Arsenal against Barcelona, to be honest. I don't think they have that to come up against like the physicality and like real bully boys, as brilliant as they are. In La Liga. So yeah, City. Who else? Yeah, in 5 words, tell me what you're most excited about this season. Chelsea reborn, fall of United. I think that's how I feel about every season. I just want to see Chelsea do well and United fail. Arsenal failing also hits, but that's not going to happen for a while. Let's be serious. Although, if they don't win a trophy in the next couple of years, we're going to have to start looking at Arteta sideways, because that one FA Cup ain't going to be enough for 6 years. The amount of money you spent, unless you want to be put in the same ilk as Tottenham, where you're just competing, just making it harder for the winners, making the winners look good, pretty much, where you're putting on the pressure. So yeah, that is my predictions for the Premier League. Let me know what you think.